Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are live here on the Technologist Forum with Mr. James Hicks, Creators Lunchroom Table. I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing? Oh, okay. Yes, yes. Oh no, no. You need the type of person that cares like that, and I'm slowly I've slowly graduated myself to have a moderator who feels just as passionate as Mr. Cox. So I appreciate individuals like Mr. Cox who bring that passion and love. Mhm, mm, mhm, mhm, mm, mhm. Great question. So on the YouTube side, since being back now for a little over close to 3 months, I end up stepping away from the huddle because I got to a point as a content creator where I felt like I had reached the point where the channel was not growing from a metric standpoint. But one of the cardinal mistakes that I made as a content creator, if you look too much at the metrics and the numbers and the subscribers, you overlook the real growth that you're seeing from your audience and your community. So when I saw and was able to identify certain individuals who had been consistent with me for the last 2 years or plus, and how they roll with me regardless of how many people were there. I failed to understand the value of that. And when I went back and then you saw the new other channel that I started on NBA Sports Talk, and I was doing that. Clearly, I was out of my lane, regardless of how much I have a passion and an itch for it. I was out of my lane because I'm not a Stephen A. Smith, even though I could probably maybe go 2 minutes with him and then he'll destroy me. I'm not a Brian Windhorst. I'm not a Rich Eisman, and I don't have connections with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. And so it became clear that I needed to come back to the huddle. But I said, if I come back to the huddle, I'm going to have to do things different, and I'm going to have to stop looking always at the metrics and the numbers. Though the metrics of 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time is important for you to get you to a certain point, but that's still not the priority. And so I said, I'm going to come back, see the value in what I have, and build with it. And so one of those things was looking at a moderator, because, for example, one of the moderators who's in the chat today, we had an experience where someone was coming on and clearly they had other intended motives of what they wanted to do on the channel. And so when I had a Zoom call with the individual, they let me know their passion about how upset they were and how they felt that this person was being a threat not only to the audience but the community as a whole, and how we need. So when I heard that passion and that fire out of that person, it was like, this is your moderator. This is your moderator. You don't have to go through no long extensive search and call James Hick and say, what do you think, or who you think I should. This is the person that they care about what you're trying to build with the huddle. And so you need to take your little 10 fingers of self-control off the wheel in this area and let this person handle it. And so making that shift has helped me now to be more freed up and now focusing and drilling on the content. And then also being able to follow and bounce off their leads. So you mentioned Mr. Cox. So one of the adjustments that I had to understand was that when you say put a C in front of the comments, put a Q in front of the question, that doesn't mean for you as a person to go looking for everything that don't have a C and a Q from it. I had to learn that. I mean, that may sound, but I had to learn that as a growing channel. Right. And so now if I'm chasing after squirrel, this comment over here or squirrel, this question over here, and they don't have a C, I think Sean Cannell does 4 questions in front and back. If you're chasing after all these other comments that you want to put up, when clearly that the moderator has set the expectation of how you engage in the chat, how you can engage in pulling up comments i- as a live stream host. If you're doing now, you're the minutes that you have to get someone to watch and engage in your content, you've wasted that minute and you can't get it back. And as a result, you can lose a viewer. Replay or lot. Mhm, 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 mhm. Not yet, not yet. And so as I'm building the relationship with I have 2 moderators. So w primarily my primary moderator who's in the chat, Florence, from Equip Institute, Power Productivity and Planning. She's the head moderator, and then I have a second one. But the tool aspect is definitely the next progressive step for us to go. But I also feel if I would have jumped to the tools, then I would have missed the learning lessons through the natural interacting with my moderator because as a growing content creator, we want that engagement so much. Oh, especially if you're going through those lean seasons where no one is watching and you have that big zero, but you got to have that passion and conviction about what you're sharing as if there was 500 people versus zero. You got to have that same passion. I call it the dress rehearsal. You're rehearsing for the big audience for the big recital, and you got to do it like this 500 piece people packing the room. But had I would have went to the tools, then I would have missed those important lessons on, quick, quick, quick to do this and quick in your, even with my slide presentations, I would put certain things. I'm like, you don't need those. You have a moderator that's communicating. You have a moderator who's helping you set the table because sometimes the chat that I'm learning is you build community. Everyone is greeting one another. So now when new viewers come in and they see everyone doing all this greeting and commenting, the chat is going in a direction that's not on the central topic of what you're talking on. And so a moderator helps you as the host set the table on today. We're talking about here on Technology Forum with James Hicks, with his guest Walter Strong, on some basic principles on how you live stream engagement. Mhm, 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 mhm. Mhm. Correct. Mhm. Yes. Sure. Mhm. Sure, sure. Mhm, 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 mhm. True. No, no, and I get your point, and that was part of the reason, unfortunately, I end up burning myself out and quitting mid last year because I got so focused on measuring my progress by the wrong things, measuring my progress based on who has X amount of subscribers and how many subscribers I have, measuring my progress on X amount of views this person has and who has on their live stream show versus who I don't have. I had really fallen into a rabbit hole, and all I kept seeing is the subscriber count number has now for 3 months stayed at 315. It's not moving. It maybe went up, it dropped back down, goes back, and I missed that. And so when I came back, I said, okay, you're going to have to do some things different. You're going to have a different approach and perspective on this. And to your point, even with the replay value, I had to go back to some things that I had learned earlier is when you don't have a high view count of people watching, that's why a runner show is important. Having a runner show, or what I call a lot, what I learned from, give Miss Flowers and his credit, um, Kurt Nugent called it the live stream GPS. You know, your runner show is your GPS that helps you go, so you know at this part of the show you do these points, you do this amount of engagement. In that engagement, you not only acknowledge team live, but you also acknowledge team replay. Mhm, mhm, mhm. That's amazing. Mhm. Not as of yet, because part of the reason why I'm because I've just come back is y I don't wanna be a jack of all trades, and I I have this over here, and I have this over here, but is it running efficiently? I have something up, but it may not be running as efficiently, and and it I get it. In the world of content creation and even in corporate America, everybody wants us to multitask, but no, but and again, but if you work for an employer, that's what they're gonna want. In some forms of business, they're gonna want that. Mhm. Right. Mhm. Mhm, mhm. Right. So to in response to your question, in terms of those other types of platforms, they're coming. And I realize in 2024 and beyond, they're important, they're important to have. However, it's for me, it's a matter of getting myself at a place in YouTube where I'm building my audience, building my community. I'm certainly meeting the metrics requirements. The if the huddle doesn't get no more than, and I'm not putting a cap on me, but if the huddle gets no more than 15 to 20,000 subscribers, to me that's a win. Subscribers, but within that 15,000 to 20,000 subscribers is a core audience of 1,000 fans that I can move to those platforms that you're talking about. That's what I'm trying to. So I'm trying not to go too hard with it. But I am slowly branching out, like you mentioned, Instagram, because I'm understanding now with all this knowledge and experience that I've acquired, just constantly putting it in video content is not always the best. So maybe I need to start creating a digital download how-to guide. So if I'm after a particular audience for, let's say, church leaders, because it seems like more church leaders now are moving from the Facebooks, they're moving from the Zooms to the YouTube page, YouTube, and they want to do YouTube now. But when you look at their pages, they don't know all the basic practical principles that me and you know. And I'm like, okay, this is an untapped audience. So maybe you need to start working on a digital download. So what you see on Instagram now is my personal vlog on my journey in creating my first digital download. Not a see, I've done a checklist. Creating a checklist is through Canva is pretty easy. But now when you create a digital download that you want to charge a premium price for and you want them to come to your online store, that's a learning process that you got to learn and get right, because if you get it wrong and they download it and they don't like it and they go to their payment processor and say charge this back, you got to have the money in the bank account as a creator to pay that charge back. And maybe they don't charge it back because they don't think it's fraud, maybe because they're dissatisfied with the service, or you packaged it and described it in such a way where they don't even recognize what they paid for. So that's what you're seeing on Instagram, my vlog journey on what I'm doing. Mhm. Well, if mhm. That's a great question. I don't know if it's so much in terms of Pat Flynn's analogy of 1,000 super fans is an ideal goal to go for. So when I kind of look at within my community, I'm still a little ways off. But if I'm going to use a measure of progress, it would be my efficiency at what I'm doing. Because when you become real proficient at something, your proficiency says, okay, you've done this good enough despite what YouTube may say. It's interesting with when shorts just came. Let's just use shorts for example. You posted a short 2 years ago. You easily got over 1,000 subscribers before AI tools and everything. You easily got 1,000 views and things like that. You post a short today, you may get 100 today. You may get 10 tomorrow. So it's amazing how this thing works and it's all over the place. But am I proficient at creating quality content? Am I proficient despite what YouTube says? And if I am, okay, it's time now to progress to the next level in using short form content in another way based on my proficiency of it. Okay. Mhm. 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 Right. Right. Mhm. 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 Okay. Get it going. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Mhm. This is true. This is true. Mhm. 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 Okay. Mhm. No, no, that's I really appreciate that because my approach to YouTube and again by stepping away and come back when I my first go around and I only stepped away for 4 months, but it was a needed step away for me to cut, hey, look, you're doing something. What you're doing is only working up to a certain point. but I had the mentality of the late Kobe Bryant. I'm like, okay, I have to be able to master dribbling. I have to master shooting. I have to. There's certain things that when you talked about trying to be so proficient, it was like I'm trying to develop a Mamba mentality as a content creator, when knowing full well that that wasn't Kobe Bryant's life all the time. The reason why we know that is because once the career ended, one of the first things he ended up accomplishing was winning an Oscar, which means he didn't win that Oscar by retiring one day and then all of a sudden do Dear Diary. No, there was some other things that he's working on, and so you bring some great valid points that I have to bring to the forefront and say newsletter, podcast, um, and more. So bring some great points. Mhm, 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 mhm. All right. Well, okay. All right. All right. So our target date to come back and revisit this is this going to be 30 days from now. Okay. All right. Mhm, 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 mhm. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Mhm, 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 mhm. No. Mm-mm. Mm. No, that's great practical advice. Mhm, mhm. Well, the tweet is there to say, "Come over here," and there you go. Mhm, mhm, mm, okay. Mhm, mhm, mhm. And again, so like you're saying, when you have these other ongoing issues that need to be improved on, and the bottom line that it is not generating any form of revenue from that platform, it becomes, like you said, a business decision now. Should you continue to keep streaming despite these issues that you know they need to fix, or just do whatever again that shiny I'm not trying to throw Instagram producer on the under the bus, but it seems like this latest version of just having to get out all the different challenges with, I was like, why go through all of this just to try to reach an audience when I can just pick up my phone and know it works better on my phone versus on the desktop. I, mhm, 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 mhm. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Okay, hey, he wanna be he wanna be connected in that some small way. Mhm. Our if I follow your train of thought in terms of our perception of how we view content as a traditional viewer versus viewing content that will help to inspire or encourage us or to provoke thinking on how we create our next pieces of content. No, go ahead. Mhm. No, it's interesting more and more as I look at certain pieces of content on YouTube. YouTube is primarily my main platform. Instagram is coming up second, and then I have LinkedIn because LinkedIn seems to be a potential of tapped creator opportunities there. So I'm like, just keep your eye on there. And now, what your advice, what you were saying about the newsletters and other types of things, it's there. But when I see certain things on YouTube and I get tempted to watch, and I'm like, do I want to devote that time to watching this piece of content? And if I do, how is it going to make me better over here? I'm always, and I don't know if that's a wrong way of thinking. Um, but I'm like, how is it going to make me better? Maybe I'm a recovering. perfectionists who miss the Alcoholics Anonymous court, I'm sorry, wrong meeting. Um, but I am a recovering perfectionist, and maybe that's what it is, but my what I'm consuming, I'm very conscious of what I'm consuming on YouTube, because if I watch that 30 to 45 minutes content over here, then I'm going to, on the replay, if I don't catch the live of what you're doing on Teams No Sleep, I'm going to not have the motivation to want to click on that, because tired eyes don't see a clear path physically and figuratively. If your eyes are tired, then your ability to see a vision of what you want becomes difficult. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Mm, mm, mm. Yes. Mhm. Mm. Okay. Mm. Mhm. Mm. Yes. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Mm. Mm. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. 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 Okay. Mhm. This is true. Yeah, because their position and what they seek to accomplish are two different things. Advocate is, more is you're trying to f- speak or to assist on the cause of another, Whereas influencer, it's kind of more of a selfish, I'm trying to influence you to do this for something that benefits me and not for the individual. So I definitely like the this distinction of, and you're definitely from an advocate standpoint, I wouldn't view you as a video or content influencer. I view you as a content advocate because you're always advocate on behalf of the viewer and those that you surround yourself with. And so if you feel that, hey, I know you use Canva, and I understand you're pretty proficient at, but I guarantee you, Walter, in 90 days, if you try this, and the learning curve is going to be a little challenge, but if you do the, your graphics and your thumbnails are going to be 10 times much better. You end up, mhm, 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 mhm. Right. Mhm. Yeah, right, right. Okay, okay. Mhm, mhm, mm. Well, that's your DN. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Mhm, mhm, mm. Yeah, you have to. You have to. And there's just certain things that you learn in those times when no one is watching. And it's interesting. One of my one of my moderators, you know, she reminds me all the time. She says, I was watching you for months, and you never knew I was there, but you stayed consistent. You provided great content, and what pulled on me to finally respond is when you said it was your birthday. That's when I got prompted to put something in the chat. Not that you were doing something wrong would cause me not to put. She says, I just was not ready. And so it's just a matter of timing. So I do have to kind of remember that word of advice. Rather if it's 0, 5. And then I remember, I think I had one content creator on, and I'm hitting the screen. I'm like, this thing broke. It's at 100 now. Wait a minute. Is this thing broke? It's at 400. I didn't even know what to do. I couldn't pull up. You talking about needing a Kevin Cox or a Florence in the chat. I didn't know what to do. There was way too many people in there. I'm blowing up, and then when it blows up, then what are you gonna do with that opportunity with all of that just came from a replay standpoint? So I'm like, okay, these are the things that we. Mhm, 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 Mhm. 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 Gotcha. Let me ask you this question. That man, that was a good recipe for to make some good old sausage and gumbo there, boy. You don't miss that one. But let me ask this question. Have you always been that type of person off the camera? Or at what if you haven't, at what point did you begin to really value where you said, "I'm willing to make myself vulnerable to trust?" Because that has, like I said, I always tell you off camera, I always feel like when I come to and be a part of what you're doing, I feel like I'm the new person in school for the first time, and I'm trying to find out what lunchroom table to sit at, because a lunchroom table for the new student is a very important piece to how well they're going to do in school and how they're going to get along with individuals. And you sit at this table and you're like, I'm not feeling these people, they're not feeling me, and then you find that right table. And I always say, I'm always feeling comfortable, from a grammar standpoint, forgive me, where I can come and sit at your table. I can learn, I can enjoy myself, I know I'm going to be challenged the right way. This is the right thing. But I don't feel that way with a lot of other creators. And so it's a process for me to really embrace a circle of people. Have you always been like that? When did the light click on? Mhm. Mm, mhm, mm, okay. Mhm, mhm, okay. Right, right. Mhm, 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 mhm. Okay, okay. Mm, mhm. Mhm. Put that can of pork and beans on the shelf, don't open it up. Mhm. Yes, it is. Mhm. 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 Mm. Mhm. Oh. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. 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 I appreciate you rolling back the curtain to kinda understand the move along. Oh, we sorry. We sorry, Team Live. We Team Replay. We sorry. Mhm. That's well, I have my Stream Deck, small one. So hold on, let me move. Hold on. Be still. There we go. Let me get it. Okay. So you would think person being on camera and know how to put something in front of a camera the right way and doing shaky cam and stuff. This is not Jurassic Park. My apologies, team audience. So I have the team Stream Deck 15. However, there is coming a time where I know the Stream Deck 32 is going to be important to have as well. But and again, you talked about trying to be so proficient at everything. Part of me trying to be proficient at everything is I don't fully utilize the Stream Deck and use multiple pages. And so because I don't, I go, well, what's the value in me getting the Stream Deck 32? But I know at some point I'm going to have to upgrade this as things start to grow and evolve, and I'm going to want my workflow to work more smoothly with, as our good sister Florence always says, with less friction. It's going to require tools like that. So I have a Stream Deck. I've had this Audio Technica microphone for what, good 2 years now. It works. It gets the job done. But at some point, I know there it's both. It's both. So I'm using it as a USB. Could I possibly get more out of this as I went the XLR route? Maybe. Um, so I'm looking at that. I have an old studio mixer that doesn't permit me to be able to get up and put it in front of you. But looking at a Rodecaster Pro or a Manocaster, so I could use it as an XLR aspect, is something that I'm thinking and looking at. These are the things. But in terms of like implementing something right now, no. I've been so focused on being proficient, being consistent on YouTube, and just making sure that the quality is there where my peers say, okay, you've leveled up. You've leveled up. Your quality, your delivery, um, you've leveled up. It's just a matter of we need to push you into the podcast arena. We need to push you in the news. I know how to do newsletters and I know how to do blogs. I've done them in the past. It's not a matter of me not knowing how. I know how to do them. It's just I'm suffering from just being so proficient that I'm waiting for a certain result to pop on and say, okay, time to do something else, or time to add this with this. And I think that's where the tough push of someone like yourself, Florence, and others is going to get me to where I need to be in 20, as people say, 2024 and more. Mm, 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 mhm. Mhm. Microphone stream deck. 720 based on the plan. So that is something the stream. Okay. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Okay. So right now, go ahead. Okay. So right now I'm using an Elgato face cam, which helps me to be able to do 1080. Yes, it goes to 1080. However, the plan itself only lets you go to 720. So do I make the additional $25 investment and bump up so that I can take advantage of the 1080? Or do I just go ahead and go from this face cam 1080 to a DLSR mirrorless camera? Yes. Mhm, 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 yeah, they do. Okay. Mhm, mm. Mhm. Mhm. The audience. Okay. No, no, no. It's Mhm. No, no, I hope I don't have too much smoke coming from my ears as they see me thinking. But no, you Mhm. Keep the 15. Okay. Got Is there a difference in the how the quality of the mic would sound if you're using USB through the computer or through an XLR? Is there a difference? And then also, would it also help your computer perform better by being on an XLR versus having the USB plugged into the computer? Mm, okay. Right. Right. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Mhm. Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. Mhm. Mhm. Mm, okay. Mhm. 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 Exactly. To just pay a little extra ready for the power windows, pay a little extra for the heated seats. You it's that Get that computerized Tesla. I'm not no disrespect to Tesla, definitely. Mhm. I like that response. I like that response, man. That was good. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay. Mhm, mhm. No. Mhm, mhm, I can't even touch that, bro. Mhm, mhm. Gotcha. Okay. There you go. Mhm. Interesting. Mm, mhm. Okay. Yeah. You said 40, 45, man. You look alright. 45? You got Michael Jordan's jersey? That's how old you are? Okay. Mhm, Mhm. Okay, on the Mac side, okay. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, so definitely, I have the OBS studio evangelists, like what I like to call these two gentlemen, John Lacey and Sam Proof, coming on tonight. Special time for the huddle at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where they're going to come on and just kind of share some beginner things that individuals that may be interested in using OBS Studio. Because in my journey of doing live streaming, when different types of platforms or software are mentioned, for some reason I always hear OBS Studios is just completely just blank blank too hard. Don't want nothing to do with it. And the thought came to me, I said, okay, if I'm going to be a person that's going to provide tips and tools on making live streaming easy for beginners, that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone in my audience of community are all going to use a StreamYard. They're all going to use an Ecamm. There are going to be some who may be interested in using OBS Studio. So because I'm not a subject matter on OBS Studios, bring in the experts to come on. And so they're going to come on and just share, 5 things you need to know as a beginner in using OBS Studios, and just having a good conversation on live streaming. Of course, one of the guests is over in Australia, so that's the reason why we have to kind of have it at 8 p.m. tonight. But we're going to do like a series. You talked about Ecamm. Bring, if your schedule permits, in March, have you come on and talk about Ecamm, getting someone to bring on a vmix perspective. So when we talk about live streaming, or if we talk about 24/7 live streaming, these are tips and tools that content creators need to know, and just doing the basics. How do you go live? Doing the basics. How do you engage? But people don't know how to truly use what they're utilizing. You know, like you're talking about the Stream Deck. Do I go immediately and buy a 32 key Stream Deck, or do I learn how to use the Stream Deck at 15 keys? That's what we're doing on tonight's show. Mhm. Mhm. All right. Okay. Grab a grab a pen and a pad, and a nice little sandwich, and you're good. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Okay. 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 Mhm. Mm. Mhm. 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 Okay. We good. We good. Mhm. Hey, I'm glad I can add value. Shh, man, I got a reputation. Don't be telling people that. My reputation to be shot to hell. But what? He's a good person.